Right now, as we're speaking, riots are breaking out in Hong Kong, and of course also right now in Minnesota, as I think it's fair to say that we are living in very extraordinary times, to say the least. And that's exactly what we're going to be talking about in this video, as of course to better understand the crazy situation that all of us are in, since of course there will be individuals, institutions, and special interests that will be taking advantage of these times in order to benefit themselves. So yeah, lots to get into, and that's why we're just going to be jumping into the latest situation unfolding in Minneapolis right now, which of course is seeing a record number of protests and riots unfolding right now after, of course, a very gruesome video was released, which of course we are not going to be playing here on this YouTube channel, but after this video went viral all over social media, showing 3 police officers putting their weight on a man, 1 officer standing by, witnesses screaming for the police officers to get off the man who was not able to breathe. Shortly afterwards, all the 4 officers involved in this incident were fired. This is also a very fast-moving situation where we are getting all the details and information that's coming in right now. Now, allegedly, the incident started after the man who passed away, Floyd, was accused of trying to use a forged document at a local deli. The 46-year-old man died in the hospital after the incident, which is now being investigated by the FBI. The police officers are saying that he was physically resisting the officers, while other witnesses and CCTV footage is showing a part of the incident where there wasn't resisting. Many people are calling for the officers involved to be officially charged for murder, a call that the mayor of Minneapolis agrees with. And of course, it's important to highlight here the mainstream media is running with coverage of this almost nonstop. Many politicians are coming out of the woodwork, politicizing this situation. A lot of people are trying to make it a black and white issue, a left and right issue, a Democrat-Republican issue. But one thing that's extremely interesting and worth noting that is happening here is that even with clear riots in Minnesota, many people on the right, many people that are called conservative pundits, aren't even making an issue out of this. And this partly could be mainly because a lot of people are very unhappy with insane, draconian measures put in by government bureaucrats that some police officers enforce without question. And I think this is something really notable here and something worth considering, since of course a lot of special interests are trying to make this a black and white thing, trying to push the divide and conquer amongst people, trying to get people to be afraid and scared of each other. Meanwhile, I really do think there is some kind of turning point here, which again could go either way, but I think it is clear that there's a lot of discontent against any kind of authority. We've seen a massive cultural inclination to push against the Karens of the world, who is a representative figure of a tattletale, someone who always complains to authorities to act on their behalf in order to implement ridiculous measures that work out towards their benefit while screwing everyone else over. That is a Karen. And socially, there has been a massive pushback against this Karen, which is worth noting and considering looking at the political dichotomy that we are all involved in right now. A lot of police support that used to come from the right is pretty much being evaporated by police officers adhering to the crazy whims of politicians and enforcing insane decrees that they come up with. The police support amongst the right is fading here, as of course, partly because of their actions, we are seeing the largest transfer of wealth in recorded human history, as small businesses are being eviscerated, as your freedoms are being eviscerated, as you can't even go out in nature, but going to Walmart and Costco, multinational corporations that have no allegiance to the United States, are somehow incentivized by local governments, all of course with the threat of force by police officers that enforce these ridiculous orders, which again, logically, don't keep you safe, don't look out for your health and well-being, but are used as generating revenue for the state by fining, ticketing, and arresting you for doing what the special interest and corporations are allowed to do. In Michigan, police officers gave out 2,528 tickets for lockdown violations. In New York City, the mayor, de Blasio, is telling small businesses that they are, quote, prepared to hang on for a few more months as he personally decides when they're going to be able to actually exist. And with that happening, I think we are seeing something significant here that could have a turn for the best. But it could also have a turn for the worst, as of course there's massive pressure pushing for, of course, racial tensions rather than police reform and some legitimate political changes. Because again, it works out in the benefit of the politicians, the special interests, and their hired thugs to, of course, never go after the source and root of that problem, but rather have people hating and fighting each other, which is being incentivized here in more ways than one. Some of it has to do with fake news, like this bit of disinformation that is being weaponized is not true, is fake news, but is being promoted as truth by even the NAACP president, who could have fallen for this disinformation, as of course a picture is circulating of this alleged officer in a hat that says "Make Whites Great Again." Something released by a professional troll, Jonathan Lee Riches, that again is not the police officer, is not true, is pushing for racial tensions and anger, only making the situation worse, which, interestingly enough, Twitter is not even fact-checking. But if Donald Trump tweets something, they're gonna fact-check that, which again just shows you everything wrong with social media that is a part of this larger dichotomy trying to, of course, divide everyone. And most importantly, it can only work if we let it. Clearly, there is an issue with policing and politicians in our country that needs to be dealt with, and it can only be dealt if we address it in the right manner and don't point to our fellow Americans as the cause of pain and suffering that is clearly coming from politicians. More important than ever, people need to hear this message now, since of course a very strong tide is coming, and it could be directed in one direction or another. It's critical now more than ever to take the right appropriate actions. And now we turn our attention to Hong Kong, where we are seeing similar scenes unfold right now with riot police officers using tear gas and less lethal munitions, and of course the Hong Kong protesters that are protesting the new national security bill that is set to be introduced that will allow China to have more control over citizens' voices and opinions in that territory. The situation is only unfolding more dangerously as, of course, tensions between China and the United States are growing, and as the Trump administration has just declared and certified that Hong Kong's political autonomy from China is totally gone, with, of course, U.S. Treasury Secretary of State Mike Pompeo saying, quote, "No reasonable person can say Hong Kong has autonomy." This, of course, are very strong geopolitical, strategic foreign policy statements that will stoke the bigger divide and sadly will be seen as a pawn in the larger insidious trap and geopolitical positioning that is unfolding with the emerging world power China and, of course, the existing world power, the United States. That situation right now is definitely a powder keg, to say the least. Expect it to blow up at any moment in time. Covering Hong Kong personally on the ground myself, I will tell you, this is definitely not an easy situation that won't be going away anytime soon, and sadly, we'll see a lot more human pain and suffering because of, again, all because of politics and individuals' reckless pursuit of power. If there ever was a more backwards idea in human history, it is the one that involves people thinking that they have power over sovereign individuals. That needs to stop immediately, and it can with radical self-reliance, responsibility, and you as an individual being informed to make the right decision for yourself. If you thought we did that in any way, shape, or form, share this video with your friends and family members. We exist because of your support. There's many different ways you could support us, including by checking out our t-shirt store, where we have new products coming in every single day to represent your discontent with the downward spiral of our society. Once again, thank you so much for allowing me to be here for you. Love you guys. Stay tuned for more here on wearechange.org.